Hi everyone and welcome to Stamp with Angela. I'm Angela Palmer and thank you for joining me today. With my Facebook Live, I'm going to be sharing a stamp set with you called the Fresh Cut Flowers, and there's some coordinating dies to go with that. We're also going to use the Stampin Blends today. So they're fun to use and I'll give you some tips on using those. Thank you for joining me today. As I mentioned before, we are going to be using the Fresh Cut Flowers stamp set, which is in the Annual Catalogue, and for September we have a die set that has been released with that as well. So, and I'll show you some stamping blends and let you know of some specials happening at the moment. Alright, I'm going to turn my camera around and we will get ready for some crafting. Hi everyone and welcome. So this is the card that we're going to make today. This is the Fresh Cut Flowers. So this is the stamp set here, which has been in the Annual Catalogue. And for September, we have the Perfect Partners. So I don't know if you've seen these things. Oops, that's the wrong one. We'll come back to that later. These two sheets here. So these are some stamp sets that are in the catalogue, and they've released some die sets for a limited time to go with them. So here's the stamp set we're going to use today and the dies that coordinate. We've got Apple Harvest, which has the apple blossom dies, the Fresh Cut Flower stems, which we're using today. If you liked the Piggy set, there's now dies to go with that. There's a Christmas one, Trimming the Trees. I know these might be a little bit hard to see, so I'll share them later. Waterfall dies and the Yeti. Sorry, the waterfall dies goes with the waterfall stamp set, and now we've got with the Yeti Party stamp set, we've got some dies that go with that as well. So 6 new die sets coordinating with stamps that are in the Annual Catalogue. So they're a limited time only. So I liked this one here, particularly if you like some colouring, some great opportunities to colour. And there are different ways to colour. I've done this stamp set with watercolouring. Today we're going to use the blends. And yeah, there's different ways that you can use it. So that's the stamp set. This is the die set. Now it doesn't come like this, it just comes straight on piece of cardboard, sellotape down, which is sometimes hard to lift off. So what I actually do is I photocopy it when I get it, and then you'll see these don't actually fall off. I've put a magnetic sheet, you can see it up the top there, between the cardboard and the photocopy. And then I can put my stamps on it, and my dies on it. And then I know if they're all there or if one's missing. So that I find that quite useful, and I know everything's in place. So if it fits, I might keep them in the same folder as the stamp set, because then it's all together. But if not, sometimes they're a little bit wider. Sometimes you can adjust them, but sometimes you can't. But it's quite good to keep it with the stamp set. All right. So let's do some crafting and some stamping. So this is the card that we're going to make today. So the colours for the card base I've used is a soft seafoam, which is a very sort of lightish colour, which to be honest I haven't used a lot in the past, but it's actually quite nice. And one of my favourites from last year's in colours is the Fresh Freesia. And so I've got the Stampin Blends, which I've used to colour it. Sorry for all the noise there. And for the centres I've used the Daffodil Delight. So what we'll do is we'll do some stamping and colouring first, and then I'll show you how I've put the card together. Actually, I might just show you the dies first. So on the dies there's this one here. So all I've done is I've got my piece of card. You do need to line it up straight, so line it up along the edge, nice and straight. Put it through your machine, and then it comes out just like that. So I don't know if you can see it better. So that gives a cool edge on the side. So that has been die cut first. Now often I will texture emboss, dry emboss the background, but because it's got that on it, if I then put a pattern on it, it's not going to work so well. So that's why I've added those die cut pieces out. So a bit more in the background. So that's this die here, and this is what they, can you see that, look like. So something else from the die set as well. All right, so let's stamp this piece and then cut it out. All right, so in the past I've used my Stamparatus, so I'm going to use it again today. You don't have to for this particular stamp, but just because it's quite a solid stamp, you can. I've actually made a template here, so for an event I've actually pre-cut the die cut first and then you can stamp it afterwards. But for today, that's the inside piece. I don't want to stamp on that one. We'll put that there. Is that gonna fit? Yes. And then we'll hold it down with our magnets. And if it doesn't stamp too well, at least I can have another go. Yes, that fits nicely. Now I'm using Stampin Blends, so I want to color. Sorry, I'm coloring with Stampin Blends, so I want to stamp my image in Memento. So that way they work well together. The color black won't, what's the word, smudge or anything like that. That looks pretty good. Yep, I'm happy with that. And what I tend to do with my Stamparatus, I've just got a small chamois. I'll just move it down a bit, and then I just wipe over it. Because I mean, obviously when I clean my stamps, I'll use my stamping scrub, but you don't want to have to keep lifting it off every time, so you can just dab it with your chamois to clean it. All right, so that is the Stamparatus and my stamped image. Oops, I forgot to take it off the Stamparatus. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to do some colouring. Now don't worry, I won't sit the whole time on the video and colour with you. I've prepared a little bit earlier, but I'll give you some tips and I'll do some of the colouring with you today. Okay, so we've got a light and a dark, and we've got a thick end and a thin end. So this is and they're hard to get off because you don't want the ear to get to them. So this is the thick end, and then I'll turn this around so you can see the thin end. So you can see the difference. So you have to be careful with the thicker end brushes because they can, wear out more easily. Often, unless it's a really large area, I'll tend to use the thinner end, got a bit more control. And you'll see from the colour of the lids, we've got one light and one dark, and it says on it dark, light. Okay, so usually I'm standing up for my videos, but for the purposes of colouring, I'm actually going to sit down to do this so I can kind of concentrate. Some people do it different ways. Some people do light first, then dark then light. I'm going to start off with my dark, and I'm just sort of going to go around the edges, kind of in the inside of my flower. And I was actually thinking probably I should really do my center with the yellow first, so I don't go over the line. So we'll just backtrack slightly and do the yellow first. So I'm just sort of coloring the whole yellow. So this is Daffodil Delight, and I've used the dark one, so it really stands out. Okay, so we've done that first. Going back to my dark, so Fresh Freesia, I kind of like to go on the lines to sort of give a bit more definition, and I'll just go kind of around the edge of where the yellow is. Then I'm going to come in with my light. Work at one flower at a time, because if you do all the edge of one and another, you want to keep working on it while it's still kind of wet. Then you can blend the colours more, which is obviously what we're wanting to do. So kind of blending the darker colour into the lighter colour, so it's, the colouring is more gradual. All right, so I'm going to try and make some parts a little bit darker, so we've got a bit more shading. So I'm going to do sort of the bits around the bottom here darker, and then I'm going to do around the edges a bit darker, sort of leave the center, and then I'm going to try and sort of blend those colors in a bit so it's a bit more, what's the word, I don't know, just not a solid line, but just kind of gradual is the word I'm looking for. And then if you want the lighter bits to be a bit darker but not too dark, you can obviously do another kind of layer. So how is that looking? Can you kind of see a bit of dark and light in the colouring? All right, so then with my leaves, so this is the soft seafoam. So I'm going to use the dark first. Again, I'm using my thin end, and I'm just going to kind of do around the edges and any kind of lines in the middle. There's not too many of these. I'll do a few of these and then I'll come back. All right, then I'll come back with my lighter colour. So you just obviously want to, oops, that's the big wide end, don't want that. You just want to be careful with your brush tips and things, that you're gentle with them so you don't damage them. And just, so I don't know if you can see here, there is a difference between kind of the light and dark. And then we're going to carry on. The best thing is to start light and add more colour. You can't kind of take it away once it's there. All right, and so we'll do these ones. So these kind of line bits in the middle, I'm going to kind of make dark. I'm going to go around the edges, and then I'm going to kind of blend those colours in with the light colour. So it's great to get colouring and dimension. If you love colouring, these are great to add lights and darks and things to it. Now I am going fairly quickly because I'm aware that you probably don't want to sit and watch me do colouring all day. All right, but you kind of get the idea. So with the other flowers, I would tend to put dark around the edge again and maybe on the lines, and then come in with my lighter colour until I end up with something like that. And then what I've also done once I've coloured it is I've used this nice big die to cut it out. So you don't have to fussy cut. I bet you're very relieved about that. You don't need to fussy cut it. Okay, so then you've got this. So now we can get on to the part of kind of putting our card together. All right, so you'll see in the background that I have this piece here with my pattern down the side, which is quite cool, but I've also got some ribbon on it. So I do want to put my ribbon on before I adhere that. So I've got a piece that is a little bit longer than the white piece, and we're going to put that on and get some tape to tape it down. If I can find my end. So do that first. So we want it on that side, fairly close. I'm just gonna lie it down, try and get it sort of even. We can adjust it if need be. So we'll do that, pull it tight, put some tape to hold it in place, and then we'll do that one, and then we'll check it looks okay on the front. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a slight line when you emboss it because that's the edge of the die. But that's all kind of part of the pattern, and I'm fine with that. You know what we should also do is we should stamp a happy birthday before we glue it down. Now with this one, you can't really turn it over and have another try if you muck it up. If you do muck it up, I did it earlier and I didn't quite do it straight, then you punch it out and stick it on. So let's see how we get on. So we're going to use Fresh Freesia because that's one of the colours we're using today. And see if we can get it straight. Yeah, pretty good. Maybe ever so slightly up or slightly higher on the right than the left, but if we want to, we can put another one over it, but generally I'm fairly happy with that. Okay, I'm just going to crease my card with my bone folder so it's got a nice crisp edge, and then we will glue this down. Some of you might like using tape, whether it's tear-in tape or seal. I like liquid glue because I can adjust it. All right, so try and get an even kind of edging around it. There we are. Okay, so I will tie a little piece of that on, but I'll wait till I've put those on underneath. So I've got these two, so basically they're going to go one up here, one sort of down there, and that will kind of go in the middle like that. So some tips for gluing something like that when it is very fine, I guess you could say. Now I have a silicone mat, which I used just before this class, or this video, and now I can't find, oh yeah, it's right here, right in front of me, but I can't see it. Okay, and then I'm just going to find a sponge. So what I'm going to do is put a dab of glue down, and I'm going to pick this up, and I'm just going to basically dab some glue on it like so. So it's enough, sticky enough, but not oozing out everywhere. And then stick that down. There you go. See, it's enough to hold it in place. And then we'll do the same on the other one, except just make sure it's upside down. So we're putting the glue in the... This is also good for vellum, because vellum is see-through and you don't want to see bits of glue. So I'm not hoping that's enough. About there, I think. Oh, yep, that's sticking down. Maybe not. Didn't do that end bit so much, but that's all right. We're going to put this over the top. So, yep, I like that. Okay, next we need some dimensionals. Now you'll see with the Stampin Blends that oh look, you can see I stamped another one on the other side. The Stampin Blends do come through. So you don't really want to colour on a card base, you know, directly, because you'll see the other side. All right, so let's put some dimensionals on, and then we can put it onto our card front, and we're nearly done. So hopefully you have learned some things in relation to Stampin Blends. Who's used Stampin Blends before? Have you? You're keen to give it a try? So choose, you know, you need sort of a couple of colours, but, you know, like something to colour flowers, and then maybe a green or a yellow. They're quite some good colours to get initially. They come in packs of 2 as a combo, a dark and a light, so you buy them together like that. All right, there we go. So we just need to tie on our little bow. So I've just got a little piece here, and I'm just going to pop it underneath, and this is always fiddly to do on video, but I shall try my best. Like so, and then I can trim the ends if I want to. And then the inside. So I've just stamped one of the other stamps, which is this one on the inside. So where's my inside piece? Here. And we're going to go for the fresh freesia again. Just like very lightly, just in the corner, and put it on. Now I think that's everything on the card. So this wasn't an original idea. I saw something online, different colours and things, but they'd used the border and things, a couple of ideas from them. And her name is Karen Kavik or something like that. Sorry, it's a tricky name to pronounce. So I've adapted her card to come up with my own, but it was inspired by hers. So there you go. And then remember, if your stamping doesn't quite go so well, you can just add that. I just used a strip that was 2.5 centimeters wide, and then I used this punch to punch the sides. So I'll just show you in case you want to have a go. So you get 2 chances because you've got front and back. Again, it's still going slightly up, so we have to make it slightly down. That's kind of okay. And then just, I kind of like to look at the back and make sure, you know, I can see that it's lined up. So what I would do is do each end, and then if it's too long, you can just put it in again. So this is just an optional extra if your sentiment doesn't go quite so well. Because we've cut it, you can't kind of turn it over. Maybe a little bit more of each side. I could have started with a shorter piece, or just make it, oh, I've got an extra bit stuck in there that wouldn't go through. There we go. Or I guess you could stamp it and then die cut it, and then you'll be fine. So if need be, which one was it? This one here actually. Yeah, I can put that on. But if you're happy with it, it's fine. So there we go. So that is the fresh cut flowers with the special edition dies that are out for this month. So that's a part of the Perfect Partners promotion for this month while stocks last. So we've got all these stamp sets that have got extra dies that aren't in the catalogue that have come out, so they're very cool. If you've got any questions about that, please ask. And the other thing for today only, so if you're watching this video later on, sorry you've missed out, but if you're watching today, we have a 24-hour stamp sale. So 15% off selected stamps from the annual catalogue. So check it out. So if you're looking for just stamp sets, then this is a good way to get a discount. If you're looking for a stamp set that is part of a bundle with dies, then the bundles are still a good deal. But sometimes a stamp set is just on its own, or there are no bundles on offer, then definitely go for the stamp set in this sale. But just remember to check out the bundles, because bundles are a very good deal because you get 10% on both the stamp set and the dies. So if you've got any questions about today's products I used, about the Perfect Partners offer, which is basically, you know, partnering the stamp set with the dies, or the 24-hour sale, which is today only, please don't hesitate to contact me. If you do want to order some stamps, you can order online through my online store, or you can contact me and I will help place your order. All right, so I hope you liked today's card. Maybe you'll give Stampin Blends a go, or even this particular stamp set. It's a lovely one. So thank you for your time today, and I look forward to sharing with you again soon. Thanks so much. Bye.